Greetings everyone. Today we're going to explore solving systems by elimination, but specifically in this video, you are going to need to line up your equations and we're only going to have one solution. This is very specific, so make sure this is what you need, you have the right notes, and if you need a different video, check out my YouTube channel. Now, in this lesson, the only little piece we're adding is we're going to have to line up. Meaning we've been working really diligently in checking to make sure that the x's are lined up, making sure the y's are lined up, making sure equals are lined up, oops, equals, oh my goodness, and making sure the regular numbers line up. And we call this standard form. This is called standard form when it's in that order, okay? And so what's going to happen now is they're going to be mixed up a little bit. You're going to have to add or subtract things side to side in order to make them fit this standard form. So let's take a look at this first example. The second equation is perfectly lined up. You see how we have x, y equals number? So we need to take the first equation. And if you'll notice, we've got the y equals a number, but the x is on the wrong side. So how do I kick it to the other side? We have to subtract x from both sides. See how that eliminates it here? So watch, that would get me a negative x. I still have the positive y, and I have the equals 12. See how I did that? I kicked the x to the other side to make it negative. That's the only new step, right? We had to line it up. That's what I'm going to call it, lining them up. Now I can refer back to our previous lessons. We now need to choose a variable to eliminate. We need to make sure we have the same number, and we need to make sure we have opposite signs. So let's take a look. The x's are the same number, yep, and they're already opposite signs. Perfect. So we are going to jump straight into old school addition, as I like to call it. What's 1x plus negative 1x? Cancels, right? That was the whole point. Then I have 4y plus 1y. That's 5y. Then I have 113 plus 12. That's 125. Bigger numbers, but that's okay. I'm going to try to keep all of our solutions basic. Let's solve that little mini equation. Instead of times 5, we're going to divide by 5. When I do that, I've got y equals 25. So let's go prep our answer. Y is 25. I need to find my x. So here is your choice. You get to choose the top equation or the bottom equation. It doesn't matter. And you know what? To me, the top equation kind of just looks a little easier, right? So I'm going to rewrite that top equation. That's the one I'm choosing. You could choose the other one. When I rewrite it, though, instead of y, I'm going to put 25. Instead of y, I changed it to 25. Oh, well, that's an easy equation to solve. If I'm going to isolate the letter, I just need to kick that 12 over the line by subtracting it. When I subtract 12, I get 13. X is 13. Let's take a look at the next one. I have to rearrange two pieces. Look at the first equation, right? We want to stick to this whole idea of x's, then y's, then equals, then numbers, that standard form. So on the first equation, I have to kick the y over the line. Let's minus 5y. That would look like 3x minus 5y equals 29. See what I did there? I just kicked it over. Well, let's look at the next equation. I need to kick the x to the left side. So instead of positive 2x, it's going to become negative 2x. So that's going to look like negative 2x. I've got a positive y, and I have a positive 4. That's our new step today. We now have a system arranged perfectly. They're lined up. Okay, so that's step 1, lined up. Next, we want to choose a variable to eliminate. If I take a look at the y's, see how the y's are already opposite signs? One's positive, one's negative, but they're not the same number. So for step 2, I need to make variable eliminate. And so I need to do a little bit of multiplication. I need to take my second equation and multiply it by 5. Watch what happens when I do that. If I distribute the 5, I'm going to rewrite this. I would have negative 10x, positive 5y, and positive 20. Okay, well, I'm going to rewrite that green equation here. You could write it above or below, but I just need them together. Look at that. Look at my y's. Will my y's eliminate now? They sure will. So we are going to solve. So step 3, we're solving. We're solving by doing some old school addition, I like to call it. 3 plus negative 10 is negative 7x. Negative 5 and positive 5 cancel. They have to cancel or something's wrong. 29 plus 20 gets me to 49. We've created a one-step equation that we need to solve. Instead of times negative 7, let's divide by negative 7. X equals negative 7. Let's go prep our answer. X is negative 7. I need to find my y value. So for step 4, let's find the other variable. You get to pick which equation. So let's go back to the beginning. When I look at these equations, I think the second one's easier. So I'm going to rewrite the second equation. Instead of x, though, I can fill it in. X is negative 7. See how I replaced that x? Let's solve. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Negative 14 plus 4 is negative 10. We have our one solution. All right, let's take a look at example 3. We're going to start by lining up. We need to rearrange things to make it work. So the second equation's already good. I just need to kick this x over to the left side of my first equation. That means I'm going to have a negative x, I have a positive 3y, I have an equals, and I have a negative 1. The second equation is just going to stay. There's nothing I need to do to that equation. So there's my new system. Step 2, we need to eliminate a variable. Well, look at that. We're going to choose the x's. Are they opposite signs? Yep. Are they the same number? They are. So we get to just draw our line and prepare for old school addition. What's negative x plus x? Cancels. It should. We just eliminated the variable. 3y plus negative 2y is 1y. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. That means y equals 1. Let's prep our answer. And so I kind of jumped into step 3 here. We're solving, right? We just solved by isolating the y. Step 4, we need to find the other variable, right? We know our y, we need to find our x. You get to pick which equation. I'm going to pick the first equation. You could pick either equation. I'm going to pick the first one. So when I rewrite that first equation, instead of y, I'm putting a 1. Instead of y, I put a 1. Let's solve. 3 times 1. Let's add 1 to the other side. We get a nice, clean 4. X is 4. Let's take a look at our last example for today. Step 1, we need to line them up. We want to write them in standard form. So let's take a look at this. That first equation, see how it's kind of like flipped around the equal sign? So we're just going to rotate it around the equal sign. It can stay positive 7x. It can stay positive 20y. It stays equal. It stays negative 14, right? I didn't move anything. So it all stays the same. But on that second equation, I have some work to do, right? I need to add 4 over, and I need to minus 2x over. See what I did there? So that would get me a negative 2x, the 10 didn't move, and a positive 4. So you're going to have to just add and subtract things left to right. So step 1, we're good. Step 2, you want to eliminate a variable. Let's try to use a strategy here. Which number do you think is easier? I think 10 and 20 are actually easier because guess what? I only need to take the second equation times 2. That would make it a 20y, but it also needs to be opposite signs, so I need a negative 2. So let me rewrite my problem. The first equation is going to stay. And the second equation, watch what happens. That gets me a positive 4x, a negative 20y, and a negative 8. Perfect. Opposite signs, check. Same number, check. Let's eliminate using old school addition. 7 plus 4, that's 11x's. 20y minus 20y, that cancels. Negative 14 and negative 8, that's negative 22. Alrighty, next up, we want to solve. When I start solving, I'm using all my equation rules. We're going to divide both sides by 11, and that gets us x equals negative 2. Perfect, negative 2. Step 4, we need to find the other variable. You get to pick which equation. So look at those equations. I'm going to tell you right now, I want smaller numbers. I'm picking the second one. When I rewrite the second equation, the y stays, the x becomes negative 2. See how I replaced x with negative 2. Let's solve. That gets me a negative 4. I'm going to add 4 to the other side. That's weird. We get a 0. That's okay. Keep going. Instead of times 10, let's divide by 10. That means y is 0. 0 are okay answers. Don't think you're wrong. 0 is a number and a solution. So quick review of our steps. Our goal in this video was to work on lining them up. We need them in that certain order. We're still going to eliminate a variable, and that might require some multiplication. We then are just solving. We are taking all of our solving rules from this year and applying them. Step 4, what's the other variable? That's a choose your own adventure. You get to pick which equation, you get to plug it in, and you can do a little solving again. As always, make sure to see what the task is for this on Google Classroom. Let me know if you have any questions, and until next time, have a good one.